Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow believers, my brothers and sisters in Christ. Let's get it going, guys. How you doing? Excuse this echoey room. We're working on that. Next videos, we're going to have a bunch of acoustic foam coming up. But yeah, we're just kind of running with it, guys. Excuse the raspy voice, overcoming a cold. You heard all the complaints. Let's jump into today's video. So with that said, guys, in today's video, I wanted to touch on, we've spoken about this so many times, but we're going to keep reiterating it because it continuously gets refined, guys, as we go through it, as we learn, as we observe. It's just like science, right? It's replicating the same result, but maybe just a little bit more efficiently. So instead of like a 98% purity, it's 99. Instead of 99, it's 99.2, right? So bear with me. In today's video, guys, we're speaking of really, I would argue, the only trait, the most important trait that as Christian men, this is a Christian's channel. If you're not Christian, get Christian, should look for in women. Now, guys, as a bit of context to you, I went to Dallas last week and I had a girl. She was a videographer, and she filmed for me pretty much the entire week going to universities and stuff. And I noticed, guys, the most crucial trait to look for, guys, is her willingness to help you. That's it, guys. I don't care. And I really mean it, guys. Think about this as you mature as a man. I don't care how much money she makes. I don't care how prestigious she is. I don't care what school she goes to. I don't care what ministry she starts. These are all, usually speaking, male-dominated things. And really, guys, if you want to understand like what men should look for, just simply ask yourself this: what naturally does not come easy to us? You see, as men, naturally, I want to be ambitious. I want to achieve. I want to learn. I want to make money. I want to get into apologetics. Like, this is very natural to us, whether we have it or not. It's like second nature. It's kind of like a Pokemon. Like, the Pokemon's going to go from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3. It's in its DNA. That's masculinity, progression, fight, conquer, yada, yada, yada. Now, something that is not in our nature as men, that is to really heal. If you think about it, guys, that's to, I don't want to say coddle by any means, but like men, you know, one of our strengths, guys, with us being stoic, with us achieving, it's phenomenal. But one of the downsides with that is a lot of times we really don't factor in, you know, how we're doing, right? Dare I say, how is your mental health? Now, I believe there's a complete effeminate epidemic of just really emasculating men, having them become way too emotional. So that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, you know, as a man, you're not really going to fully, and this is stuff I've just been learning the past week or so, you're not really going to, how do I put this? Really hit your fullest potential if you're still holding on to old baggage. And the problem with us as men is that we're such like overachievers that a lot of times what happens is we begin to accumulate, whether we're aware of it or not, this subconscious baggage, whether, dare I say, trauma. You know, we got this like hippie stuff going around, but you know, yeah, like there is a balance, man. And that's something that I think, coming back to this channel now in the new office, the new setup, I want to portray a little bit more, because there are seasons to life. I was just reading or listening to Ecclesiastes. Yeah, wow. And it speaks of there's a season to everything, right? In life, there's a season of war, there's a season of fighting, and there's a season of peace. And I'm here to tell you guys that to be a fully self-actualized, balanced man, you first, and this is really what the whole kind of main point of my channel is, but it's evolving. You first need to fight. You first as a man need to know what you're good at as a man. Like, you have to be good at being a man, right? Jack Donovan speaks about that. There's being a good man, like a Christian man, good man, morals, but then there's being good at being a man. And that's shutting off your brain, shutting off your cringy little emotions, and just going out and doing it. But the problem, guys, is what begins to happen, or it's not really a problem. It can be a problem. What begins to happen is, as we begin to accumulate this experience, our triumphs, slaying demons, right? Slanging and banging, and excuse my nasally voice, is we begin to focus so much on the conquest that other areas of our life, whether that be relationships, whether that be our enjoyment level, really it's our humanity. That is what I've come to realize the most this past week. How when you overachieve and you're so just focused on it, which is great because the majority of men don't have enough of that, you can begin to lose your humanity. And that's one of man's downfalls. And what I'm here to tell you guys is really the most important trait to look for in women is a woman who's able to bring back that humanity in you. It's as simple as that. You know, as men, right? Like, we'll get a coffee, you know, and as men, this is just what's coming to mind. We don't care. Don't gotta be fancy, okay? I just give me a coffee, good enough, right? Or like meal prep, just ground beef and rice. I don't care about the this, the that. Listen, okay? And that's awesome. But when we follow this path a little too far, a little too much, right? I believe this is why the Bible is so big on men not being alone for forever, for too long. There's a season, you're on your Paul arc, amen. But what can happen and begin to trickle is when we eat our chicken and rice by itself, just black coffee, for years and years and years, we can begin to lose a little bit of sense of reality. And that's what Ecclesiastes was about, where it kind of speaks about everything's kind of meaningless, you were chasing all these things, yada, yada. But there has to be a level of enjoyment. And dude, this is stuff. It's kind of cringy. I know this is stuff even a month ago. I was in a very different headspace, guys. I was in a complete different headspace. I was grinding. I was in the conquest, and I still am. That's not changing. But I think when I went to Texas and I met up with these individuals, right? Whether it was the videographer girl, Braden, the meetup with other young men, right? It really just realigns my priorities as far as like the next step of what I need to do as a man. And that will come with being a fully balanced man. One of my downsides, guys, is that, and I'm going on a complete different rant, but I can be way too like mission focused. And the problem, that's a good thing, but the problem with that is you can actually be a detriment to your community. Because if you think of like a father, if a father begins to be so mission focused that he's forgetting his tribe, right? Kind of how they're holding up, what's going on, he can almost begin to become a tyrant. And that's something that is very insidious to us as men. We don't try to do it, but it does happen when we start to get, fearful or like too much control. And it clouds our mind and it clouds our judgment. And what I'm here to tell you guys is one of her greatest roles, I believe, and it's what's lacking the most in 2024 with feminism and all this garbage, is her ability to calm that down, to say, hey, like, that's awesome, keep it going. But you're going to kill yourself. And that was something that I was doing subconsciously. I didn't even think I would speak about this in this video, but that's something we as men, we really do consciously or unconsciously. And I'm really realizing like why we're supposed to be here on earth. And that's what women do to men. They ground us, because as men, we are such overachievers, such, the next world, the next thing, which is phenomenal. I am not, and I will never be against that, because the majority of men are just useless, point blank period. But there can be repercussions to that, and there can be, right, whether that is like anxiety or depression or really just losing humanity. Like, you don't connect with anybody, and the problem with that is I just don't believe long term you're going to be the best, strongest version of yourself, because you have to be able to relate with people. And I mean as a leader, people like a son, like a kid, has to be able to trust you. Like, think of like a dad, like your dad. Like, you respect your dad, you fear your dad, but you also have to like love him. Like, you have to know that he's still human, right? And if we as men, right, we're just so focused, narcissistic, yada, 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 we can block that connection with them. And then we're actually doing everybody a disservice. So to kind of summarize this video up here, I'm kind of just ranting, going on a bunch of things. The greatest thing to look for in a woman is a woman who's able to first, most importantly, this is so key, because a lot of women and men are just, they get nothing done, and then the men gets complacent, and then the woman, it's bad. Step number one, it's for you to understand where you're going, what the mission is, what the Northern Star is. Number two, with her, it's for her to understand that too. Right? And that's a big thing. A lot of men don't have that Northern Star. So when they get into relationships, it's just wasted time. Fornication. What are we doing? You've ruined everything. You got your Northern Star. She understands that Northern Star. And then from that, she's able to keep you, she's really able to just push that forward. But the problem with that, guys, is like by her pushing that forward, that isn't so much like rah, more masculinity, like come on. It's like, I can already do that. It's actually the exact opposite as far as like speaking life into you, keeping you human, so we don't become irrational and do these kind of dumb things because we're very too, type A aggressive. Does that make sense? And it's something that is very new to me. I'm learning it. It's very, it's very interesting. And I've just changed a lot these past few weeks, guys. And I'm just thinking of the bigger picture now. Community, starting like a men's group or a men's church in the future. Like family, all these like long-term big things that really are much bigger than just David, just type A, do it myself David. That worked for the time being, but if we're going to really get to that next level, it will change. It will take a change in heart. And it's kind of what I want to document here, or whenever God guides me. So thank you guys. Have an amazing day. Again, excuse my raspy voice. That'll be good for next video. The audio too will be better. And let me know what you guys think. All right, I'm just kind of playing around with this. And yeah, I bought like 4 flannels for this. So I look, it's what Texas does to you, man. It rubs off on you. As always, guys, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. There's always coaching below if you guys are interested in discipleship coaching. And you can gift the ministry below. It really helps. And I appreciate and love all you guys. God bless. Check you next time. Share it with a bro. And I'll see you guys then. Till then, much love. Peace.